Good evening, everybody. Dadman Walking 55 coming to you live from the East Coast of the U.S. 1 minute after 9. Hope you're doing well tonight. I'm live right now. We're on Twitch. Make sure you follow us over there and on YouTube. Uh, Help us grow. Let's get to 834 more away. We'll get Mrs. to 750. She's getting very close to that now. Thank you for all your support, and I hope you're having a good evening, and hope the sports world has been good to you lately. We are kind of just going to be traveling around on a few different topics. We'll try to get some Olympic coverage in. Obviously, our friend JT Kirk is not here tonight. Possibly join us later in the show, but dealing with something that came up very last minute with work. But on that note, hey, we will find our topics. Legatus, how are you tonight, sir? Good to see you. Good to see you tonight. Hopefully you're doing well. We just got out of a time of a little bit of Fortnite and just taking a chance to see, give people a few minutes to come in. It's now we've hit the boring part of the sports year. After the Super Bowl, after the college football playoffs, and you hit this lull. Next big event, as JT mentioned last week, will be the March Madness, and it says in April the college national tournaments, both the women's and the men, which is a wonderful time to be alive if you're a sports geek. Now it's not good because your basketball teams may be doing okay. They may not be doing great. But the point is when college basketball comes around, you want to be firing on all cylinders when it comes March and April in the tournament time. So we'll see where we go. We may have somebody else help in for a little bit tonight. We're waiting to see on many, many things. Take a look at the Olympics and the medals. Some were issued today, it looks like. Man, they're just very interesting. We'll take a look at those. Hey, Chewy. Hey, good to see you today. How are you doing? Great to see you, my man. Hopefully you're doing well. And like I said just a minute ago, JT will not be able to make it tonight. If he does, it will be late. But hey, so things pop up. It's called life, and things happen. All right. Well, let's do something. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl some, but let's come back to that a little bit later. Let's jump in the world of men's college basketball, shall we? I think that's a good place to start. With some of the news that's out there, one of the stories, as you've heard when I follow me here, is the case of the Alabama basketball player. Let's see, I'm going to bring up that story here. Yep. So it's no, man. I hate when the stupid Google search. I miss the old days of the Google searches where Google did it and what, not AI, not all the other stuff, X and everybody else. It's like, please, I don't need. I love it. I love the disclaimers on Grok too. It's like, hey, we could be wrong. What? It's like, what do you mean? You're disclaiming all responsibility? Then don't publish it. Let's see. Play that here. Let's see. All right, there we go with this one. And yeah, Chewy is multitasking as you speak, catching the inning between UNC Miami because Hurricanes and men's hoops do need a quality win. Yeah. Yeah, and I tell you, that was the UNC Duke game the other night was a spectacular ending with UNC hitting the last second shot. Now, the one thing that hits me with that, Duke wins that. I mean, North Carolina wins that game at a buzzer beater. Everybody charges the court. Well, what happens is they clear it back, do a review, determine there's 0.4 of a second. I'm like, why not charge the home team a technical foul for storming the court? Why not? I mean, if you're going to put time back on the clock, they committed a violation while there was still time on the clock. There should have been a technical foul assist, which would have been 2 free throws in the ball. Still probably not enough for Duke to win, but still, it's like that's one way to stop it. Make sure everybody cuts it off till the game is officially over. And that's one problem of storming the courts is you got to make sure the game's over for one thing. But yeah, that UNC Duke game was a battle. Crap, I hate all these stupid channels. Everybody wants you to create free accounts or do this, that, and the other. Well, let's go. We'll go out to Sports Illustrated. They haven't done that yet. Yeah, yeah, you're all over the place. So, yeah, look, guys, you are everywhere too. So, yeah, you were saying that I see. I don't know. I was seeing the Duke UNC game, but since I was at a spot called Puttery, I'd like you to catch some Mountain West. Yeah, I know you're big with the Mountain West. That's really a good brand of basketball. A lot of the sports out west, folks, if you give it a chance, are actually pretty good. This article we're going to take a look at before we look into scores and standings. Alabama's basketball player Charles Bediako has been ruled ineligible to play for Alabama after a judge's decision. Bediako's request for an injunction against the NCAA was denied by Judge Daniel Pruitt, which is interesting. It's another Tuscaloosa, Alabama judge, but he ruled against the athlete in this case. Now, folks, just because this is only over a temporary restraining order, which would allow, he wanted a restraining order to keep the NCAA from enforcing the rules, allowing him to play. So this is not over yet. If you get the right player that will sue on the issues and take it to court, eventually it could happen, and it's centered around from college players that declared they want to go professionally, they sign a contract, and they play with professionally, whether it's at the NBA or a low level, coming back to college if they have years of eligibility remaining, which is not really would shake the system up completely and just cause all kind of havoc. But this prevents that from happening. But you can look to the future that somebody's going to get the right law firm, and they will push it, and they will test the NCAA's rule, as they always do. Wes Cagle, hell, dude, good to see you tonight. Hopefully you're doing well. Chewy said that in the Duke, North Carolina game, they did put less in the second in the game, but the Blue Devils had many chances to be up late in the stretch, and UNC caught up and got that late three to get the late lead. Yeah, exactly. Duke had its chances. I just think from a rule standpoint, if you're going to put time back on the clock, then and if people run on the court, you give them a technical foul. Maybe next time they won't charge the court until they make sure the game's over. Of course, Duke's coach talked about some of his coaches got hit and his family harassed. So, which I'm a storm of the court believer. I love it, but other people don't necessarily like that because it can get dangerous, and you can have things happening that, are unfortunate. So, Chewy, getting more into the hole, which last four teams getting in based on who you are, getting the info mocks on last four in. Sees Oklahoma State and Cal as ones who stand out. Yep. But that, I tell you, that's a name I've not seen around relevant college basketball for a while, was Oklahoma State. I remember Eddie Sutton in the 80s. They had a decent program out there, but fell on hard times and really have not been on the basketball scene in quite a long time. Continuing with the article, Pruitt's decision comes a month after Bediako initially filed the lawsuit against the NCAA, and just a few days after the Alabama big man had appeared in court alongside his attorney and the NCAA's legal representation. Quote, common sense won around today, and quote, NCAA President Charlie Baker said in a statement. He further in the statement says, the court saw this for what it is, an attempt by professionals to pivot back to college and crowd out the next generation of students. College sports are for students, not for people who already walked away to go pro and now want to hit the undo button at the expense of a teenager's dreams. Bediako is 23, spent 2 seasons with the Crimson Tide from 2021 to 23, helping the program reach the NCAA tournament each year. He then declared for the 2023 draft, but went undrafted and signed a two-way contract with the Spurs, proceeding to spend the next 3 years in the G League, appearing in 82 games that season. In a development that sent shockwaves across college basketball landscape, he enrolled at Alabama for the spring semester and then scored a huge victory in his attempt to gain reinstatement when a now recused judge granted him a temporary restraining order that allowed him to take the court for the Crimson Tide back in January. Oh, yeah. G League dropout is one of the cheers that started at the University of Florida, and it's been a few times on the road. He appeared in 5 contests for Alabama, averaging 10 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 1.4 blocked shots per game. According to accounts from those present, Bedeko's attorney essentially argued the NCAA's eligibility rules favored other athletes, such as the reinstated James Nagy, who had competed internationally over those who had played professionally on U.S. soil. His attorney also argued that denying Bedeko the injunction would cause him to lose his ability to seek a degree, a claim that Alabama basketball coach Nate Oates rendered obsolete when he told reporters that Bedeko would remain on academic scholarship even if the judge had denied him the injunction. The SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey this past Thursday signed an affidavit supporting the NCAA in the case against Bedeko, adding some muscle to the case. Now what we have to look at is really that situation with James Nagy, though. Where there's pro leagues overseas, this is why it could still be an open-ended issue. This is just this particular case for a temporary injunction so that this particular player could play. But you have other bigger legal issues that could be and probably should be addressed in the new day of sports. So, hey, let's see. Oh, and hello, Chewy. I know you're on that side. And hello, Matthew Ace. Welcome. Good to see you over on our Twitch side. Yeah, Discord. Yeah, that's an interesting development over there in Discord. But, hey, I don't use Discord. Not for streaming. So his attorneys, let's see. The University of Alabama said, "We are disappointed in today's court ruling denying the injunction of Charles Bedeko. While we understand the concern around competitive and developmental implications of former professional athletes participating in college, it is important to acknowledge reality. The NCAA has granted eligibility to over 100 current men's basketball players with prior professional experience in the G League or overseas. Granting eligibility to some former professionals and not others is what creates the havoc we currently are in and why consistency from decision makers is so desperately needed. The Crimson Tide are 16-7, currently 5th in the SEC with 8 regular season games to play. So that's the status. We could see this in the future. I wouldn't be surprised to see it rear its head again, especially with the James Nagy situation and trying to get consistency. A lot of talk out there for a collective bargaining agreement to make them really employees, which at this point, they're more employees than they are student athletes. So let's see. And Chewy, now you're let's see, there we go. Bit concerned on how the court storming. I did see a water bottle get thrown, but there was some chatter of possible punch, but the punch is in question. Water bottle thrown was shown. Yeah, I know. That's the one. That's the same thing. I think it's a rite of passage for college athletes. I really do. I think it's a wonderful thing. But it's got to be done right and try to make sure nobody gets hurt. So, and this was after the game ended. Also, it'll be in between chats. Yeah, hey, cool. We appreciate it. Chewy, thank you for support. Thank you for always chiming in and all. But yeah, I know our friend Sam doesn't like court storming because she used to work security on it. And Fallout Dave. Hey, dude, how are you doing? Hopefully you're doing good tonight. All right. Well, that is what the status is on this case. Probably done for the season, but we shall see this. Don't expect it to go too far. Expect another case at some point very soon on these, or at least to address, as the article was alluding to, they're professionals, the people that have played professionally overseas. How do you allow them to come back and play in college, but you don't let somebody that happen to play in the NBA or the G League? So, let's see. if you're not busy tomorrow, Mountain West Action, Grand Canyon, New Mexico. I don't have FS1. That's the biggest problem. Mrs. and I are doing a stream tomorrow night at 8, but dang, that would be, yeah, Grand Canyon, who made the tournament last year. They've done good. Not really, but that's life. Is what it is. That's life. Well, hey, you're here, Dave. That's what counts. So, let's see. Yeah. Oh, I don't like using SI.com very often. It's kind of funny because you could you hit the swimsuit issue by accident. That's when you definitely go visuals on that one. Let's take a look at the scores tonight that are currently going on in the college basketball. Miami looks like they. Let's take a look at this though. What we got on the docket? Top 25 action. Purdue, 13 ranked Purdue. Almost over, down to the wire in overtime. We have 13 minutes left in the game. The Illinois Fighting Illini, ranked 8th, have a 6-point lead against Wisconsin at home. Just really getting started. The first TV timeout. Houston, number 3, on the road at Utah. Should be a fairly easy win for Houston. Utah being only 9-14, 1-9 in the conference. Probably don't expect much of a fight with these teams. Houston, I did watch Houston and BYU play the other night, and maybe as Sam gets through here, we can talk a little bit about BYU. But it amazed me how physical Houston still is. I watched the Gators play them last year in the national championship game. This team was very physical. They got length. They can rebound. They did a good job. After BYU rallied, Houston did find enough offense. And the defense tightened down and had a good win against the Cougars on the road that night. But very impressive team. Houston, look for them to, again, third ranked, make another deep run into the NCAA tournament this year. We've got still early. Pitt leads Duke at home, leads the fourth-ranked Blue Devils 12-11. This game's still early on. TCU, Iowa State just getting underway, tied at 2 each. Arkansas on the road at LSU. The Pigs have a 21st-ranked Pigs have a 10-point lead, 18-8 over LSU. It really surprised me. One of the schools like LSU is we focus on their football now because of Lane Kiffin and NIL and all this, but historically was a great program with Shaq there, Pete Maravich, Dale Brown. I remember when he was there as the head coach, but they are trailing Arkansas by 12. Of course, Arkansas had what a run with them. So Nolan Richardson and those teams back in the 90s. Later tonight, we got Washington State at 12th ranked Gonzaga. Games already that have gone final involving top 25. Miami upsets North Carolina at home. The Canes at home win this game 75-66. In that game, looking at that and the numbers, the Miami Hurricanes move up to 19-5 to the same record for the North Carolina Tar Heels. And actually, Miami has pulled ahead of Carolina in the ACC with an 8-3 conference record versus North Carolina's 7-4 record. Wow. Oh, cool. I was reading the wrong column. I was reading personal fouls. But North Carolina in this game shot 40%, only 30% from the field, 8 of 27. Only attempted 10 free throws, but hit 8 of them. Looking at Miami's stat line, out-rebounded North Carolina by 6. 41 rebounds, shot a measly 61% at the free throw line, only 23% from the three-point line, but shot 47% overall from the field. So in this game, the leading scorer for Miami was Malik Renaud. Of course, two players had 10 rebounds each. Renaud did, and so did Ernest Uda Jr. Leading the way for North Carolina was Jaron Stevenson with 13 points. So that is a very big game of note. And why you say, well, why is it important? Well, seeding, especially this seeding within your conference and your conference tournament. The higher seed, the better you play a weaker opponent. By the way, just went final. Purdue beats Nebraska in Lincoln, 80-77. So that game is there. So let's see. Let me see. Chewy's got a few comments. Houston was no slouch. That defense in the chatter, but I think they're getting better in terms of using players that are not Flemings or other notable players. Yeah, the one thing with that, and maybe I missed it or whatever, is the getting scoring out of that team. There were times that they seemed to hit dry spells, and BYU could get back into the game, but then they turned up the defense. It was really impressive to watch them and their athleticism. Yeah. And Chewy also says, as for LSU men's hoops, they need a decent and notable coach that can get something going, but there isn't many eye-popping names out there. I don't know how you get the big top-line coach. It's not like football. In football, you have no problems drawing a big-name coach to a program like LSU, but in basketball, it could be a perception that there's not enough support for the athletics. So Chewy also says from Fox Sports, and this is a projection conference that Gonzaga's in. This is what I find surprising. They can get 3 teams in. The other teams are St. Mary's and Santa Clara. Not bad for the mid-majors, but it's only just as the tournament started today. Exactly. And a lot can change. Between here and there. You may be playing well now, but struggling later in the season and not make it through your conference or your NCAA tournament. Let's see, take a look. We got also Virginia goes to Tallahassee. They're 15th ranked, improved to 21-3, beats Miami 61-58. See, this surprised me with FSU. They gave Florida a very hard time earlier this season, but they were like running and gunning and scoring. I'm surprised to see them only score 58 points in a game like it. They really stood well with Florida, but like I said before, Florida's guards are not what they were last year. But Virginia gets this road win, 21-3. At least they scored 60 points. I like picking on them when they don't score any points. Like when they got upset by University of Maryland, Baltimore County, that was awesome. But then again, I love the NCAA upsets. I geek out on college sports when it comes to that. I need to double check something I did real quick. Let me see if I. Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, she said the SEC and hoops. Also, the prediction from Fox Sports will in, but they will beat each other up and go down the stretch. Yep. Just like in football, really, for this conference. We'll take a look at that in just a second with the standings. Speaking of the SEC, Vanderbilt goes on the road, wins on the Plains, 84-76. In Auburn, Alabama, a very big win for the Commodores, who had dropped a few games recently. Number 22, BYU scores 99 points, including a 58-point second half. Wins over Baylor, 99-94. That would be a fun game to watch, I mean, it's like the NBA with actual talent and playing defense and actually scoring, not just all dunking and small stuff. BYU, led by A.J. Bansta, in 40 minutes, played the whole game, 36 points. Robert Wright was second. BYU's team scored 30 points. He also played all 40 minutes. Don't see that often anymore. Not to be outdone, Baylor, Tunde Yusufu played the whole game, 37 points. Cameron Carr only played 35 minutes. What's wrong with him? Scored 24 points in the game. which I think is interesting. Baylor played 7-man deep, only 7-man deep. And the name mentioned out of the other story about the Alabama basketball player, James Najee, who's at Baylor, only played 6 minutes in a game like that. So I a lot of concerns with who you're bringing in. That, 6 minutes. Okay. Let's see. I think that takes care of all. Let's see the. Yeah, that takes care of all of tonight's actions. The rest is ongoing. Um, Duke is tied at 15 with Pittsburgh. Illinois is up in a 9-point lead on Wisconsin. Houston's up 7 on Utah now. So some of these games, 25-12 Arkansas over LSU. So that is going to be an interesting game just to see how that plays out. Let's take a look here at standings. We're going to take a look at standings. We're going to take a look at a couple of the conferences that we got. Let's see. We don't need America East. Let's take a look at the. Let's take a look at the Big 12, shall we? We have some Big 12 fans out there. So, we got, of course, everybody knows Arizona leads the way. But, hey, they finally lost a game. Arizona has finally lost a game. They are 10-1 in the conference, 23-1 overall, followed by Houston and Kansas and Iowa State in that order in terms of the top 4 teams in the conference. BYU, a notable, is 6th in the conference with a 6-5 record, sitting at 4 games back, as well as UCF and West Virginia in that position. So we got, let's see, we got that. Let me see. I'll show the graphic. Why not? Here we go. Here we go. We're going to go. Here we go with Arizona, Houston, the Jayhawks. So we'll take a look at another conference, look at the ACC. Duke is tied with Clemson. Wow, Clemson's having a very strong year this year. And Virginia is right on the tail with a 10-2 conference record, 21-3 overall. Looks like you could have 7 teams from this conference in. You could even have SMU in if looking at all those records, California, Virginia Tech, all of them have something of a shot. It's not till you get to the bottom of the bunch that you sort of – and, of course, everybody's favorite to hate, Notre Dame. Look at what. We won't join a football conference, but, hey, we'll sit there at the bottom of the basketball. Why? Why have – why? You join one or join them all. But that's another big mystery. The fate of Notre Dame and where they'll reside in football, basketball, or anywhere else. Take a look now. We looked at ACC. We looked at the Big 12. Let's take a quick look at Big 10 for JT Kirk. Wow, not bad. Not bad. If you can say it all. Michigan, held to the victors. They're 12-1 in the conference. They're leading the way. Overall, 22-1, with Illinois right behind them at 11-2. Purdue, boiler up, toot, boiler up, toot. Thank you, JT Kirk, for teaching me that. Nebraska and Michigan State are all at 10-3. Look at very dominant conference. Big schools, big names. Look at those records. 22-1, 20-4, 20-4, 21-3, 20-4. Just amazing when you see that. Let's take a look here. We got Big 10. Let's take one more look around. Let's look at the ACC, the SEC. My apologies. And it is led off by Go Gators at 8-2. Half game up over Kentucky. Arkansas, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, then Tennessee and Alabama. I don't know how many teams the SEC gets in this year. Yeah, you have other conferences that are playing well. It's not like football, but oh my gosh, look at Georgia, 17-6 and 5-5 in the conference. Every year, Georgia teases under Mike White that we're going to do something. We're going to get to. Nope, they're pretty much in the middle of the pack, stuck forever. Yeah, and Oklahoma, the Sooners are the last place team in the SEC. Of course, Gamecocks too, and LSU. It's really sad to see LSU so far down, though. I hate to see that. Mississippi State also usually have been pretty competitive in recent years. So, but that's where we sit with the college basketball world. We're going to take a quick look at the rankings. Then we're going to take a second and take a look at the Super Bowl in just a second. Let me make sure I get this. I know. There we go. We're going to go to. Let me go back to the homepage. We're going to do the top 25 rankings. Here we go. We're going to take a look at this. Of course, pretty much standard. We got Arizona still number one. Looks like the new poll's not out. But no, the new poll will come out next week. Arizona's still unanimous in the AP coaches poll that Michigan got a first place vote, but it's generally these polls follow each other. It's kind of useless because they got everybody in the same areas. Nobody out more than one or two spots out between the two each poll. So like you have Iowa. Iowa's gotten in the coaches poll, but not the AP poll yet. Of course, BYU's at 22nd overall. So take a look at your teams. We're coming down to the best time of the year with March Madness. I always like taking off. Okay. All right. Well, while we're at this spot right now, let me ding dong, knock knock. Okay, JT, just in time. I got to put my ears on. Hell, Captain.
Hello, Hale. Good evening. I've been waiting in the back room for a couple.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just got started on monologuing on college basketball. You got any thoughts? I mean, I looked at take a look at the top 25. But I mean, it looks like a good logjam of solid teams between Michigan State.
If you'd like to go to standings, go to the Big Ten for me, please.
Okay. Yeah,
we were just Michigan State lost 2 games this week, so I thought that they would really drop in the top 10 rankings, but everybody else seemed to have lost too.
Yeah, let's take a look.
The Big 10 million.
I know, Big 10 million. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Look at that. Michigan,
they're all the way down at 5th, although they're in a three-way tie for third place. Yeah. So when you think about, well, why are they only ranked down there, and then all the numbers are all over the place? There's so much of a log jam in that top 25, like you said, because there's also a log jam here in the Big Ten. Big Ten is hot right now, very, very hot right now, in terms of where they stack up against everybody else. And they're at the point in their season where they're just going to beat up on each other very severely. And so you may see these teams starting to lose 6-7 games and still be in the top 10 because everybody else they're playing is also in the top 10. So how much do you want to recycle and move stuff around? Makes it kind of an interesting discussion. Well, if they are actually losing, how are you comparing the quality of that loss just because they happen to be ranked when they entered? You know, at some point there's like a gate, right? Or there's a demarcation point where they were in the top 10. Now, if you keep losing to other top 10 teams, but you don't drop out, then aren't you just keeping everybody else from getting in? It's one of these, how do you really evaluate people not in the conference talent-wise? And so it makes an argument for why you got to win those early games in your season against your non-conference opponents.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it does put some importance on those games that you and I just don't watch a lot, Dadman. Right. A lot of people in the chat probably don't watch them at all, or even know that they even go on. A lot of stuff before Christmas or, in the first couple weeks of January when everybody's focused on playoff football.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Even your early conference games get left behind because of the matchups and
sure.
And all.
Sure.
Of course, before Christmas, it's even worse. You have the holiday tournaments and different things, but some of those tournaments have good matchups, good games, and then others not so good. They're like almost like the paycheck games, like we talked about in football.
Right.
But
now,
but still, it's there are good matchups there. I know, like Florida, 3 of their losses. We talked about their schedule. 3 of their losses against top 5 teams.
Right. If you
And
could scroll down a little bit to get us at least halfway down the conference here, at least keep UCLA or Iowa in the top
look,
there.
Oregon's at the bottom. Yay.
Yeah. I was just going to say, so you can really see where the drop off is going to hit. But even when you look, you don't really have the title in there, but you see the dark column. That is the in-conference win percentage. You have Iowa at 2/3. You have Indiana, who is historically a mighty powerhouse, but not quite there. Ohio State, even they're going through a really rough year. They still have over a 50% conference win rate. Now, how is that possible? Well, like you said, Penn State's doing what Penn State does. Northwestern does what they do. Maryland, I'm surprised, is that down in the dumps too. But Oregon 1-12. Now you look 2 more columns to the right. You have to go all the way down to the Washington Huskies before you have an overall 500 win rate for their entire season out in overall, not just the conference. So you could see just how strong this conference is. You have to go to the 11th out of, I don't even know how many schools are in this anymore.
I think it's 18 is what they've said. So,
right.
But, one of the things that's interesting is, and this is another thing that over time we probably will do more research. We need to do more research and to talk about it. Some of the things that have been happening lately is about the Division I program cost and can teams afford it. Rutgers specifically is one of the teams that I've been hearing should move down out of the Big Ten because they have debt. They have a lot of costs there that have actually could threaten the financial viability of the program. I saw a report recently that FSU's athletic program had like $47 million of debt. And not a discussion we're ready for tonight, but it's something we need to look at long term. Is we talk about NIL, transfer portal, and all this, but the debt and the financial activities of a lot of these places, you have to start to understand, start to think, well, is this really worth all the money, the expense, the debt that is going on these days?
Now, I would be willing to wager. That's a great point. I would be willing to wager if you go to the ACC, maybe the Big East, you'll see some of this too. The SEC, not so much, which is why they're sitting kind of on the outside.
In terms of records, standings?
Right.
Okay,
right.
Well, let's take a look. I looked at it a little bit earlier. ACC, you got Duke and Clemson tied at the top with Virginia just behind them. But their 500 overall goes a little bit further down. Let's see.
It does. 3, 4, it does.
But the problem is in the conference, the a little higher for terms of winning records. And, like these teams probably feasted up on the cupcakes early in the year. But I remember Florida State played Florida really tough. They looked like they were going to be a run and gun, score a lot of points, but I don't think it's translated into success this year. So, any thoughts on this one, though?
They have.
Oh, by the way, I'm glad you're here because look who's in the ACC for basketball.
Really weird. So you can do it. Yes, yeah. Virginia, there is a Santa Claus.
I said when I saw
telling you, this is where they should throw their football team too and just be done with it already.
Agreed. I agreed for that. So, and Chewy said, the Big Ten, if the tournament should start, say 9 of the teams get in. Indiana, I think it could be last 4 in type of team that's faced someone just to make the big dance if possible. No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's see.
But that's interesting to get into the Big Ten tournament now. You actually have to really try in the Big Ten, right? It's not so easy. It's not.
Yeah. Illinois, Michigan State, great win for Old Sparty. Ohio State is a first 14 out team unless they get some wins somewhere. Yeah. And Chewy, JT cable package in 3 different servers. Yeah, I understand. That's what's happening. And everything's getting part behind paywalls nowadays. So.
Well, I know WJR AM 760 Detroit, which actually covers like a third of the state.
Yeah,
it's a massive high-powered AM station. They'll always broadcast those games, but
yeah,
it has gotten so hard to listen to the crew that does that. I'm not trying to be that difficult. I'm sure, but they're just reading more ads than they are talking about the game at some point, or they're doing one interview to the next. Like, I don't care about the interviews. I only care about the game.
I know. I wish on all sports they get rid of these stupid between inning and between the halftime. I don't mind them talking to the coach as he's walking into halftime or walking out or things like that, or post game, but just leave them alone during the game.
Right.
Get back to the sports, not all the other stuff. Okay. Go Gators. We're number 1 in the SEC again. This team is really heavily dominated on their front line and their size. Not the best 3-point shooting team. Definitely a different team than what was around last year. And Kentucky, with their $20 million payroll, is apparently still. They had some really ugly losses, like against Vanderbilt. But I mean, it's from what I had heard, I thought they were on death's door, but they're second in the SEC, so they're doing something right.
Right. Yeah.
And followed by Arkansas at 7-3, along with A&M, and then Vanderbilt at 7-4. This is a team. This one goes all the way down to Georgia, but that's like 10 teams.
I want to see. I think Georgia might be a sleeper on this list.
I will tell you no for 2 reasons.
Okay.
1, this is typical Georgia, where they get all these wins early on, playing nobody. And look, since they got into conference, they're only 5-5. So they started 12-1. They're 5-5. 2, Mike White, their head coach, he left the University of Florida to go to Georgia because he didn't like Florida, didn't think it was supporting him. This guy could lose a game. It's like he shut his offense down with 4 minutes left. And he wondered why the fans were unhappy with him. And it's like, dude, he coached to not win. You know what I mean?
Oh, not to lose, you mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah, but he coached not to win. With 4 minutes left, he just shuts everything down, and then
they all go home. Yeah, and there's still a minute left on the clock.
Exactly. So
I wish we could see a metric on that, like point ratio in the last 3 or 4 minutes for all these teams, and see how much they get outscored by.
No, it'd be neat. And hey, Sam was about to hop in, but I told Sam when we talked about Olympics, she's more than welcome to jump on with us if she wants to. But she's talking about the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But yeah, she spoiled her kids. She actually did something where she could actually watch the Super Bowl for her kids. Of course, they turned it off during the commercials, but that is so nice. Chewy said that same projections he saw on Fox Sports. They have 10 teams in the SEC getting in. Have Texas in last 4 in, and another outlet has Mizzou last 4 in. Very interesting.
10 getting in. Okay.
Yep.
Well, so if you scroll up, which 10? I mean, I'm not saying that's Florida, not true.
Kentucky,
I'm just trying to figure
Arkansas,
out which.
Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, Tennessee. That's 6. Alabama, Missouri. That's 8. Texas and Georgia, right at the Georgia line.
So what? You're going to have a lot of like 12 seeds with this?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
So. Yep, and of course, Chewy said though that Baylor BYU did get a road win at Baylor because if the slide continued, it would have been an ugly loss. Yeah, BYU, I think, has struggled the last few weeks with that. But like I said, that watching BYU play Houston the other night was very interesting, and to see how Houston is still the dominant physical team that they were last year, that lost a heartbreaker to the Gators on the last second. Great defensive play. This was not Florida's offense that won their national title last year. It was their defense, especially in that championship game, because they could have been knocked out, gone away, but they held in there and they came in for the win. So you got to look at the quality wins also. All those go into factors for making the tournament. But we shall see, JT. It's like it's
We're
February
getting
10th.
Closer. That's certainly for sure. I mean, this is the point where if you're thinking, do I really want to actually watch this sport this year? Yeah, I mean, now you can start before the.
I just have not been I've not been able to watch my Gators enough. Sometimes because it's not that team was so special last year, and especially with the guard play, you got threes, you got dunks, you got all this stuff. It's a different team and a different way to watch basketball this year. They're very average to below average from the 3-point line many times, but really looking at their front line, just astounding at how dominant they really still are.
And this is kind of one of these dilemmas. You could have a team that wins once every 4 years, kind of the Kentucky or the Kansas route or the North Carolina route, where you get all those good players and then they all leave for the NFL, or not the NFL, the NBA rather.
Well, nowadays they can leave for transfer portal too.
Yes, another way to lose all your talent, right?
That's one thing they have with the Gators. Yeah.
You have that as an option, and so as a fan you get burned out, and you have to go through that cycle. Or you have what I like to call the Tom Izzo route, where you're just Elite Eight, Final Four year after year after year after year with occasional bad exit, but you never win it.
Yeah.
So would you rather be teased every year or go through a binge cycle on that?
I like the
you like the other option. Yeah. I figured it's better to win.
Buddy, good to see you though. Yeah. I tell you, there is nothing like watching a game in person, especially college basketball. I do, especially a good environment with a band and students and all that are into it. Hockey is another one you got to watch in person too. But good to see you, buddy.
It can be hard to watch in person. If you sit too far away, that puck gets really small.
Over the hockey, yeah, it does. But yeah, we sat close to the window once. That was neat. But
yes,
that's neat. Real quick score updates: Wisconsin and Illinois are tied. 8th ranked Illinois. Well, now Illinois just 8th ranked took a 3-point lead with just under 2 minutes. Pitt is leading Duke with about 2.5 minutes left in the first half. Houston is pulling away from Utah, 33-21. And then, of course, Arkansas's got a 50-point lead at the end of the first half against LSU. Iowa State leads TCU by 4. And Purdue knocks off Nebraska in Lincoln, 80-77. That was just final earlier that went to overtime. All right. I think we've actually, let me see if I can get information on this real quick. We're going to kind of tease a little bit about bracketology a little bit. I'm not sure what ESPN will do if they got it behind the paywall, all that stuff too. So, it's very. Ooh, wow. I'm amazed that I can get to this. Let's take a quick look at this, shall we? Because it's something new. Let's see. Top overall seed would be Arizona. Last team in New Mexico. First team out, Ohio State. Yes.
Oh no!
And there
didn't happen to a better team.
Nuke it from orbit. That's the only way to be sure. Remember, but we got. If they have to go to the NIT, I don't think they're going to be able to get over that. The coaches' heads are going to roll. North Carolina is still getting the breaks like they did last year. But let's take a look at the bracket. This would be interesting. West at San Jose, Midwest Chicago. You got your 1 seeds Michigan and Arizona, Harvard and NJIT with playing the play-in against Morgan State. Auburn, they've got Auburn making the tournament here. That's a shock.
As an 8.
With already has a double-digit losses in the season.
As an 8? That okay.
This is the guy, Joe Lenardi, ESPN. Texas A&M and SMU at 8-9. That
seems very favorable. Very favorable.
Yep. See Portland and Tampa. Do I want to go to Tampa to watch some games this year? No, because I don't know. I don't know. It's costs so much to go into these things now. Much less than staying. We got Alabama, a 5 seed in South Florida, moving up. Gonzaga is following 1 spot in Lenardi's rankings against, I guess, California Baptist. That's an interesting name. Never quite heard of them. In Tampa, Patino's, St. John's, and Belmont. Belmont has historically been one of those small mid-major programs that can actually make some noise in the tournament. Used to be in a conference with UNF and Jacksonville University, but they've now moved on. North Carolina versus Troy. All right, we'll take a look at the rest of the bracket. The rest of these brackets. Tampa. Remember, Tampa.
I knew they were going to do that.
They're pods.
I knew they were going to do that.
Which is one? Which is what?
Michigan State is a 3.
Yep, you've been saying that for a while, and it's on the same line as Florida as a 3 seed. Yep. You got Clemson and Miami in Tampa, and with Florida and Winthrop. I like that draw for Florida already. I do. I'm like, that's Sweet 16 right there. But Arkansas, Miami play in with New Mexico. Those play-in games at what is it, 6-11 or 4-11, whatever.
I hate playing in for an 11 seed. It makes no sense in my mind.
Yeah. It does seem too high. And Buddy said California Baptist University is down south in Riverside. Chewy then says New Mexico has the last 4 and not shocked, but it's scheduled out of conference is nothing to be wow of. If they knock out Utah State in the MWC Mountain West tournament in the final, get them and Utah State in. Though you feel bad for San Diego State because they needed to beat either in Arizona or Michigan. Last year, having that Houston win OT, a neutral site was handy when the Cougars won the Big 12 tournament. That gave them a slight boost. Let me English properly. All right, so then we got Oklahoma City, St. Louis Pods, Utah State, USC. Nebraska is a 2 seed against Merrimack.
I think that's going to change. I don't think Nebraska holds that.
They're already sliding. How about this? This is one of the most epic matchups of all time. Kentucky and UCLA.
I don't think they're going to keep that early. I think they're going to have to rearrange.
But imagine this. Imagine there's no buzz for this right now. And all I hear is about firing Mark Pope in Kentucky. But look at it. The 7th seed. They're only half game behind Florida and SEC.
Well,
in the 70s, this game would be in the 70s. This would be a 1-2 matchup with Kentucky.
Right.
UCLA would.
But UCLA moved into a tougher conference. They did. Yep. I'll say it.
Yep.
Big Ten's much better than whatever the Pac was before they broke up.
They had John Wooden and Joby Hall, or whoever's before Hall. Yeah, it's just interesting. And then Iowa State and Austin Peay. All right, that's it. So
the interesting part about that is Kentucky. I don't know if we're allowed to say this, but they've always won through the pocketbook. And if they want to do it again, they're going to have to find a way.
$20 million. They have one of the highest payrolls, if not the highest in college this year. So
right.
Yeah. BYU Cougars. Yay. So Chewy said he saw Utah State there at 8 seed because they are holding steady in the Mountain West. 7 seed would be good for the conference. So let's take a look. We got this. So in the East and South, we got UConn as a 1 seed in the South, Duke in the East. See, I don't understand why they don't put UConn geographically in the East, and then I guess it's folks, don't look at the cities. The cities in the first round are pods. Okay, what you look at is in the South, the regional finals will be in Houston. In the East, it'll be in Washington D.C. That's why I'm wondering why Duke in Houston and UConn in D.C. But
I really, if you scroll back up just a tiny bit, number 15, I really would like there to be a university called Monitor State University or Monitor College. Anyway,
there you go, Sam. That's just for you out there. The history.
Yeah,
that's the history. That's for you. Well, we got UConn, Long Island playing. Presuming this is Bethune-Cookman University down here in Daytona, and HBCU.
I think so.
Yeah. So they've got that playing game. NC State, Wisconsin should be an interesting balanced matchup between two teams.
That's not going to stand.
Yeah.
These 9s for Wisconsin and Indiana, that's going to shuffle around.
Yeah.
I think you might see Nebraska in one of those 2 spots.
Okay. Could do. Which would be a fall for them.
It would, but I just am being realistic looking at their schedule and who else they have to play and what kind of ranked matchups they have and all the rest. Yeah. I think once they get to the tournament, they're going to dump quite a bit. Big Ten tournament.
We got Duke as a 1 seed in the East and UT Martin, Villanova, Indiana, 8-9. San Diego.
Duke and UConn.
Yeah. Duke and UConn is 1 seeds. Yeah. You got Tennessee and Stephen F. Austin, 5-12 matchup. Virginia, UNC Wilmington would be a 4-13 matchup in the South region. In the East region, you got Vanderbilt and Liberty. Watch out. Liberty could do some damage for a small school. Texas Tech and Hawaii,
Wilmington's a nice college. It's right next to the Intercoastal.
Yep.
North Carolina.
And here comes BYU. BYU in as projected as a 6 seed in the East with 11 another playground playing game. Texas and San Diego State at the 11th seed, followed by Purdue and Portland State. See, these matchups, I'm not seeing a lot of early round upsets. I mean, based on what I've seen and what I know. Santa Clara and Louisville 6-11, Kansas and East Tennessee State at 3-14. And the last set, Georgia makes it in from the SEC, 7 St. Louis. Of course, Illinois and Wright State, which I think is in Detroit, right? Wright State. It's up there. I know I'm thinking of Oakland. I think Wright State may be in Indiana. Iowa, St. Mary's, and Houston and Navy. Hey, there you go, the Naval Academy to be sacrificed to the Houston Cougars. Anything jump out at you, good, bad, or whatever, with any of those things?
I pretty much have already called. I was saying I think a lot of that Big Ten ranking is going to shift around. I think they will force MSU to stay in like a 3, or if they move them up to a 2, they're going to put them in that. What was that, Duke, UNC?
Yeah,
somewhere where that's not going to help them in the least. This is always the problem that they run into. They get high enough where they should be very highly seated, but not high enough where they deserve their own corner of the bracket, and then they end up just getting thrown to whoever ends up winning the Natty quite a bit.
Yep.
SEC, I think, is given a little bit of charity there. I'll be honest.
Yeah, a lot of charity. There's no way Auburn should be in there. So Sam said, I really hope they do. Talking about BYU, it would be exciting if you were made to March Madness and actually held on for a while. Yeah, my national championship Gators. So go become a Gator fan this year with me. But Sam, Yeah, let's go BYU. Yeah, I can't wait to hear your kids screaming basketball. That's funny. Loudest house in the world as far as I'm concerned with football. So Chewy said the Jayhawks beat Arizona last night. They too face Arizona yet again end of the month. That way it strengthens your schedule. She's an Arizona girl, but not an Arizona fan. All right, well there you go. But and hey Tim, how are you tonight? Good to see you. Hopefully you're doing
Dadman,
well.
did you already talk Superb Owl?
No, not yet. Not yet. What I was going to do with that, I think we'll put the hockey talk off to next week.
Okay.
Let's run through hockey really quick. Let me do that because I really right now until there's so many games. What's happening is how the playoffs. Let's look and see, comparing it to the what we saw last week. Yeah, it springs soon when you start seeing Masters commercials. Yeah. So let's take a look at. Of course, as you know, hockey. The NHL is taking the 2-week period off with the Olympics. So we're just going to take a look at the standings really quickly. And of course, I don't think anything's changed much since last week. With Tampa Bay, Montreal, Detroit up in the Atlantic, Carolina. Yeah.
I think Detroit moved back to 3 because of a tiebreaker with the Canadiens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But still, it's still about what we saw last week. Metropolitans, God, the Devils just come on, man.
Panthers are catching up with Toronto. I'm rooting for the Florida Panthers, Dad. Man, you must embrace the Florida hockey. Okay, we need those Panthers to get their numbers up against Toronto.
Yeah,
we need Toronto to be dead last.
Gotcha. Colorado really hadn't much changed since last week, so we'll look at the playoff standings right now. There's about less than 30 games. Some of these teams only have about 25 games. Tampa Bay, Montreal, Detroit, Carolina, Pittsburgh, and New York. And then the wild card spots in the East, the Buffalo and Boston with
Yeah. If some reason Detroit were to move down into 4th, they're going to knock out one of those two teams in the East.
In the Western, Colorado, Minnesota, Dallas, it hasn't changed. Seattle, Edmonton, Vegas, Utah, Mammoth, and Anaheim Ducks. This actually close. The Kings are just, and the Predators are just, they're within striking distance. Whereas in the 4 points still, they may or may not. You never know. Depends on the number of games that they've got.
What's going on with the Rangers? My goodness.
Oh God, I know.
With the C. What is going on with that team?
Well, look at the Devils. It's like, geez, bad, both of them. So
I guess they're just redistributing all of their talent to all the other teams.
The other night, I heard the Devils were holding a player out for a trade. It's like, that's what I hated with baseball. You're condemned to failure because your team always trades off the good players for quote future considerations that don't do anything. Yeah, Tim, we do not show any clips. I've actually gotten that claim every once in a while playing video and I actually talking over it. So anyway, but no, absolutely. We may do some still frames if we ever do anything, but not.
I will tell you, I have seen a lot of the Olympics so far. Very unwholesome, non-family show videos and pictures of different bobsledders or ice skaters.
We'll come back to that in a little bit. We'll come back to that in a little bit.
Things we couldn't show anyway. So
that's interesting because I'm curious. I've not been able to watch nearly as much as I do, but hey, yes, Sam, you've not survived my March Madness. It's insane, especially when the Gators are good. So yes, definitely madness. So hopefully we'll have fun with that as that comes up. Now let's take a look. The superb owl. What do you think, JT? What were your initial thoughts? We have a game that ended up 29-13. Seattle wins this game. What's your thoughts on the game?
Well, I guess my level of engagement was incredibly low. I actually had a music gig where I played for, well, in my group, I played for maybe about 100 people during the first half. And so I drove home during halftime. I got to avoid the terrible bunny rabbit. And just didn't really care. I was watching the score not move much whatsoever. And I said, well, this is terrible football. During the Super Bowl, I want to see some kind of a shootout.
Yeah.
Or at least see both teams score.
Good.
Make it look like they're capable of assembling some kind of momentum back and forth. And when one team doesn't score for what was that, 3 quarters?
Yeah.
3.5 quarters. No, that's not a good game. I did watch the fourth quarter. I knew the game was pretty much over when all you see, especially in the last 3 minutes, is New England throwing right over the center for like 5-6 yards of play. Yep. And, of course, at that point, Seattle's happy to give it to them because they're just trying to give up, play prevent, not give up the big play, which it didn't look like New England was even capable of doing if they wanted to anyway.
I was on a stream at that point and just kind of my back was to it, but you could just tell the game was dead. I mean, I would turn and look, and it was within 90 minutes, within 90 minutes, it was like 2 minutes left in the first half. I'm like, what the heck happened? It's you don't expect the game to move that fast along. It's crazy though. So so Sam said, wait, what are you saying? Because I haven't seen any of that, but I've been really selective in what you're seeing. So
I don't think most halftime shows are actually art or music. I guess I'm kind of a snob like that. But
I think what she's talking about the Olympics. I think she's talking about the Olympics stuff. Because she's really focused on the Olympics right now.
On X, it's typical stuff on X. Somebody finds a video of a revealing uniform or some video of somebody bobsledding and pointing out that it might be inappropriate with their attire. That kind of thing.
Oh gosh,
it is X after all, right?
She thinks the Patriots threw the game on purpose. I don't think they were giving out all they could. It was a lame first half by everybody's standards. It just was insane. I mean, we had a 9-0 first half, 3 field goals by Seattle.
At least that's some sort of momentum, even though it's not really anything anyone wants to see. I think the Super Bowl should be, kind of like the NBA All-Star game where nobody plays defense, or just like your average NBA game where nobody plays any defense. Yeah. And then, the score ends up being like 48-37 or something.
Yeah, it's just something fun.
That's what I'd love to see.
It wasn't even close. I mean, the thing is, when Patriots threw that pick 6, it was like expanded 22-7, I think. Like pretty much, it's done. They didn't. They really weren't in. And Drake May was 27-43 for New England for 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he also threw 2 picks and was sacked 6 times for a loss of 43 yards. And Drake May was also the leading rusher for New England, 5 carries, 37 yards. The other 2 running backs on 13 carries amassed 42 yards. So not very efficient. And Seattle had a better numbers. Kenneth Walker ran 27 times for 135 yards. Sam Arnold was 50%, nothing to write home about, for 202 yards and a touchdown. Like I said, as the scoring was choppy, it's 12-0 at the end of 3 for Seattle. And then they outscore New England 17-13 in the fourth quarter. Really one of the most underwhelming Super Bowls. I'm glad I was on the stream at the time, and because it was like it gave me something to do, because I didn't feel like I missed anything even with my back turned. So,
and Sam said she watched the Turning Point one. I did not watch that one either, but I heard it was great. Probably closer to something I would like. Mm-hmm. Although I am not into child rock.
Yeah.
He's said from the Metro Detroit area, cannot stand him.
Buddy said both teams looked really bad. You can even Sam Darnold was only 50% completions. Yeah, did not look good. So I'm gonna come back to that one real quick. Yeah, people are acting like Darnold was throwing bombs all game. No, he wasn't. So
I didn't see it.
yeah,
Fourth
no,
quarter, I
that's
didn't
fine.
see it.
Hey, we got both of these. You never know. Everything's
Yeah,
everywhere.
we're not being consistent.
Yeah. So, and Sam did say one other thing here is that, but well, I'll hold the Olympic question I, for a little bit later. So, yeah. Oh, but yeah,
Yeah.
big thing with Sam Darnold. Is vindication for him or no? Not necessarily. I mean, at 50%, he really didn't do anything. I didn't see him really do anything like Bradshaw or Staubach or any of the great quarterbacks
No,
really just
no.
willing their team to
If
a
you want to see
win.
vindication, you see Matt Stafford leave the Lions, and then what was that? A year or two later, he goes and wins the Super Bowl and proves that he wasn't
Yep.
just the most awful, overrated thing ever.
Yep. Exactly. Man. All right. Well, there's not much more I can say about it. Any good commercials that you saw? Because I really didn't get a chance to see the commercials.
No, I mean, I am so masterful at tuning out any advertisement whatsoever. Couldn't even tell you what any of them were.
That's a good skill. That's a good skill.
Oh, I've been training on that for my whole life, Dad, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I bet
But,
you have. Yeah, and kids help you even more with that.
Oh, kids don't even want to watch football because they're like, "What are ads?"
No, it's
Get
like
these out of my face, and they walk away.
Did you hear screaming all around the house? Huh? Honey, they have kids. What kids? Huh? What? I don't hear anything. Now,
Although they were in bed by the fourth quarter, so that was
well. If anything,
nice.
You put them in front of this game, they'll go to sleep. Sam's going to say it's probably the most boring football game she's seen in forever. And if I wasn't watching for my boys, I would have changed the channel, put the Olympics on.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, oh my gosh,
curling would probably be more exciting than this.
I love curling. Don't badmouth curling.
Oh no, I'm saying
we love
curling would have been a
what
better thing to watch.
Only Admiral Teague would like this crap. What kind of costumes, capes? Like Edna said, no capes for superheroes.
Is this the men's or the women's costume? Because you can never tell on that anymore either.
The women's with the back open and
that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I don't know, but anyway, I guess we got to be careful what images. I don't know if they're taking people down for videos. Who knows what they'll do with images? But we don't have to show any of that. So, you got great kids. Your kids listen, and I think that's wonderful. They can help, and they willingly do it during commercial breaks.
See, here's a cultural question for the Super Bowl, right? We already know the commercials have gone to pot. We already know the halftime shows have gone on a downward trend for many years. The football can be fairly mediocre. I guess that's the only mystery of what you're going to get. Dadman, did you go to Super Bowl parties before the turn of the last decade here?
Yeah.
Because I don't. Yeah, I'm wondering if it was
that I attended was the Cowboys win over the Steelers. Well, that might have been. It might have been. I can't. When is the last time the Cowboys won? It must have been 96 or 90. Yeah. Where am I getting? Yeah, because yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Because I guess my idea about this is, look, Detroit never gets to have a fun Super Bowl unless it was like the year 2000 or whatever when we had XL here. And so whenever you have a Super Bowl party, it's more about the party and nobody ends up watching the game because our team has never been there. But I remember getting invited to 2 or 3, 4 sometimes Super Bowl parties. Maybe it was because I was in my late 20s, early 30s. It maybe just things have shifted, but I have not been invited to a single one since 2020.
Wow.
Not a single one. And I was wondering if you were even getting invited to them anymore.
No.
People still throw them even?
It depends. Yeah.
Or did people give up?
I think it just depends. And I think a lot of stuff has happened since 2020 also, and things have changed. But I think also a lot of people do hookups online watching stuff together too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I love an in life, real life party and Super Bowl party. So, um,
Oh,
but
buddy,
it's
you'll probably forget that commercial next year, by the way.
yeah. Sam used to do Super Bowl parties, but with their husband's family, but they don't live and they're usually lame now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Buddy said in terms of commercials, he liked the Budweiser commercial. They just copied the Wild Robot with the Clydesdale being Roz and the Eagle being Bright Bill.
And it's sad because you used to have that huge spread of Super Bowl food and everybody's best hors d'oeuvres or appetizers or, mains. And
what'd you say?
Oh, I said it was
hors d'oeuvres?
sad because, hors d'oeuvres, mains, appetizers.
You mean hors
all
d'oeuvres?
The food, yeah.
Hors d'oeuvres, right?
Or if you're on Dr. Oz, the crudité. Yeah. Yeah.
I've not heard that one yet. So.
Oh, you didn't hear about it? Well, not to go too political, but when Dr. Oz was running for Senate, he was trying to be like a man of the people. And he said that he went to some kind of party and he brought the crudité. Everybody in Pennsylvania was like, what the hell is that? it did not help him out.
No.
Yeah, and you know what that is, right? It's a vegetable tray.
Okay.
It's French for vegetable tray. Anyway.
Gotcha. Sam said, what kind of did the food game food? I think she said they did game food still and had drumsticks and nacho and V-dip. Yeah, cool. I mean, we always loved chips, the Velveeta based cheese and sausage dip and stuff like that. So that's what we would do.
I want to see if Mark D with the C has any of that this Sunday.
He did
on the eatery,
but he did not Sunday. Well, I left. I had to go because it was late. But he showed some food, but I don't necessarily think it was Super Bowl. I don't remember.
Okay.
I got to the point where I was half asleep, and I was like, I had to get home, get some sleep.
I had to be early to bed. I couldn't make his show, sadly. Yeah.
Yep. All right, let me start that one so we can come back to that too, though. Okay. Any other thoughts on this before we crudités and charcuterie?
Crudité and charcuterie. So crudité is the vegetable tray, and charcuterie is the meat and cheese tray.
That's not crudites.
No, it's crudité. There's an accent on at least one of those vowels.
Just
yeah.
It's bad enough that I can say charcuterie because when they keep talking this French crap like patisserie, I'm like, who pissed in the bread or whatever, Sorry.
Well, this is why when you're running for office, you don't say these things because people don't know when you start speaking French to them.
Go off script.
You look not like a man.
I would charm the whole world with my foreign language. My voices, my accents are so stunning.
Well, man, you could do it because people would be like, "Well, he's trying to speak French. That's endearing,"
Raw or less processed. Okay, thank you. I knew Sam would come through with a real answer. Any other thoughts or feelings about the Super Bowl? Anything about the NFL season or college football season? Just in this last thing before we spend a few minutes on the Olympics.
Honestly, this year I was just kind of glad it was over.
Yeah.
I feel like you get 17 games in a preseason and all this crap, and it just it starts taking as long as basketball. And I just stop caring sometimes. When all the good teams in the playoffs leave, then I don't care anymore. And by that, I mean people who haven't won it in a long time. Those are the best teams. What
Sam said it. What it crudité. His buddy said, "Okay, you're going to make me do the accent. Crudité is with the little accent over the E."
Yeah. There you go.
Hey, yeah, I'm that cute Southern little guy. Yeah, so true. They just got to go. Oh, what a cute little Southern guy, and he can get away. I can get away with anything. Sam said they need to actually get performers for that halftime show that people actually know. And that's the biggest thing to me is they're picking artists, not just this one this year, but they keep picking they're same famous. No, who are they? We've never heard
Nobody knew who he was until he was talking smack about the USA. And I don't want that in my Super Bowl. I'm not trying to be political about it. I'm just saying,
Hey,
if you start talking crap about the country that gave you everything and all your money and fame and success, don't need you on center stage doing that.
Well, buddy, that better not mess up my keyboard. Well, hey, if it does, blame the French. I would say blame the Italians, but it's not a Italian symbol. I don't think it's the French or the Spaniards. So, all right, folks, feel free if you want to say anything in there.
My thing is, what could we have had better about this? We could have had the Bears, or the Panthers,
Jaguars.
Play the Bills or the Jags. Those four teams would have made this way more interesting.
If the Jaguars had kicked the dang field goal in the game, they did that stupid. Said going up 10-3, we're going to go for it. And then what happened? The Bills moved on down and scored a touchdown. I just take the points whenever you can. Jaguars would have a much better competition for the Seahawks than what New England did. I mean, they couldn't even keep the quarterback clean. So, no. Oh, Buddy said the people my age are ones who watch WWE know him. So, Sam's giving gold medals now.
To tie it off, if any one of those four teams had made it in, it would have made for a way better game, and you would have had much more invested audience outside of Seattle or like Boston, nationally, because people would have been rooting for the Bears or rooting for the Jags or rooting for the Panthers, or who else did I have in there? Sorry, I'm blanking. The Bills. People nationally, the Bills to take well, I know you can't do this, right? Because they're in conferences, but can you imagine how many more people would want the Bills against like the Seahawks?
Yeah,
It would be like a 49 state thing.
But it'd also be the sympathy support. Oh, we want them to finally win a shit. So
yeah, but it'd be like a 49%, it'd be a 49 state vote on who wants the Bills to win.
Well, yeah. All
so right. Yeah, that's the biggest disappointment out of all of this.
Well, I think the biggest disappointment, like I said, is in a way we got a crap matchup. The playoffs were boring, and who won, and we ended up with two teams from two cities that I don't even give a rat's rear end about. That just, and that's really it. It's an anticlimactic ending of the season. The Cowboys stink again, and in terms of college sports, it's like, well, it's almost not college anymore because next year you're going to have a completely different new roster on your team. Just about, it seems like. So, let's see. Sam said Super Bowl felt like a lot of elections you were rooting for the lesser two evils, the team you hated the least. Yeah, I couldn't figure out which one I hated the least.
And turnout was low.
Yeah. Buddy said that sometimes I think they get funny with the water and something on one team who plays differently. They played through most of the playoffs. Several recent years have been like that. So, all right, folks. Thank y'all. Let's see. Okay.
We're rounding up on 10:30 here. Do you want to?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Olympics real quick in here a little bit. But here, Sam was asking what about the Olympics that you thought was dirty?
Well, it's what's on X that is not family friendly. People taking uniforms and zooming in on places that aren't real dignified, or showing women jumping onto the back of the bobsleds and only watching the back half. I'm trying to keep this as family friendly as possible.
Right. Okay.
Just boys being boys kind of stuff. That's what I've seen dominate X with the playoffs.
Oh, no.
when it isn't, athletes hating on their own country, which again, that's a political thing. But and I am not going to watch the Olympics if you're really digging for people to make political statements during the games. That annoys me, Dadman, is so much else is whenever athletes start going into politics. But when you're representing your country directly, it's not like you're on some corporate team, but when you're supposed to be representing your country, if you're like, say you're in Venezuela or Iran and you're at the games, right? And your country's going through a lot. I'm okay if you're like, I'm praying for everybody in my country right now. We're going through a tough time or something. Keeping it positive and asking the world to pray for you too. That's fine. I've got no issue with that. We can acknowledge that there's struggle, but when you just come out and hate on your country and just because you don't like who is the majority elected person in there.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, that's a turnoff. And I don't like it when either team wins the White House. I think watching athletics like this, it's already hard enough to get people to agree on anything. So why can't we all just be on the same sports team in the US?
No, I agreed.
Or whatever country you're in, right?
Sam was on my show on Friday night, though. She brought some positivity about it, especially for U.S., supporting the military. There's a number of U.S. active duty military members that are actually part of the games at this point. So, all right.
And Sam also said 6 soldiers are competing this year in the Olympics, Winter Olympics.
Yep. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up if you're ready, unless you have other thoughts. But the last thing I wanted to do is look at the country medal results.
Oh yeah, sure. I was just going to say we better hit that up.
Yeah, Norway. Of course, I think they have the most golds lifetime from what I was seeing the other night. 6 gold, 2 silver, 4 bronze, total 12. Italy with 11. Look at all those bronzes.
Well, they're getting the home field advantage. Yeah. And the hosting country always gets.
Well, I told
the
missus the other night. Or was it Mrs. or was it Sam? I was talking to somebody, and they were like, they like the bronze like I do. I can forget the gold. I want the third place. I want that bronze. The bronze always looked good to me. So,
okay.
Japan is third ahead of the U.S. See, anyway,
it's so early though.
I know, but still, I don't have hope for the U.S. in the Winter Olympics. But Sweden was 6, Germany was 6, Switzerland, Austria 5, and then let's look at all the little countries in here that are so cool. Canada has 3, Slovenia 2, Netherlands 2, Czechia 2, South Korea 2, New Zealand 2,
Western
China,
Taiwan with 2. There you go.
Where's Western Taiwan?
Right there, right under New Zealand.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Poland with 1, Latvia 1, Bulgaria 1, and Belgium 1. So that's the current medal count. Can the U.S. win it? Possibly. They're still not out of it. But But the thing is, will they win some of the events that they were? They
could pull ahead in one day.
Yeah.
At this point, really, they could pull ahead to first place in one day if the right events are played.
Dave is snarky. He's rooting against the U.S. in skiing, figure skating, and curling. So Irwin is women's biathlon. Sean Doherty is men's biathlon. So
cool.
Duca's men's bobsled. Hill women's bobsled. Look, like Sam, the invite's there if you want to. So Ben Looms, men's Nordic combined. Yeah, I bet. But any surprises to you, JT? Looking at the list of
I'm surprised. Western Taiwan is doing as poorly as they're doing.
You're going to live with that all the way.
Cry. Oh, I will. I'm also surprised Canada's kind of low in this, and Switzerland as well. But like I said, it's early.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, pretty much expected. I think pretty much expected on this. You get your home hosting country bump,
right?
And that's pretty much in line with it. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well,
I think Russia's not in that list for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
so that's going to probably help us.
Taiwan is usually recognized under Chinese Taipei because of reasons. Well, the problem is that because of the invasion of Ukraine, the USSR or Russia is not allowed to have a team, but their athletes are performing as under a white, I'd say a white flag. I'm not sure what the flag color is, but it's
non-affiliated.
Right,
Yeah.
non-affiliate countries is what they're doing, basically, essentially.
Is their team still under sanctions from all the Sochi?
I believe that
thing?
I don't think that. I think what's keeping them out a lot now is the Ukrainian situation.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Let's take a look at hockey. Wow, U.S. won 5-0 over Canada. Sweden beats Japan 4-0.
Okay.
Germany beats Italy 2-1, and in the women's ice hockey, and Finland beats Switzerland.
You don't want to share those screens lest you get a picture of the games on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh no.
The alpine skiing women's team combined final today. Austria wins with 0.05 second ahead of Germany. The U.S. takes bronze though. That's a miracle. Biathlon, the men's 220 kilometer individual final. Norway takes gold and bronze, and France takes the silver. Cross country Sweden, you might as well call it, skiing. Women's individual sprint swept by Sweden. Swept by the Swedes. In men's individual sprint, Norway takes first and third, and the U.S. takes second. Ben Hogden gets the silver medal for the USA. Mixed doubles curling, the bronze medal game. Italy beats Great Britain to end up getting a medal for the host country, and then Sweden outlasts the U.S. 6-5, forcing I'm proud of the U.S. because I've never known them to win a medal before. So, exactly, and yeah, we talked about this the other night. The individual athletes have to compete independently because of that situation. So, freestyle skiing, Norway, U.S., and New Zealand all take medals. I remember days the U.S. wasn't ever winning any of these or getting on the platform for any of these, but they're doing better. The luge single finals, Germany, Julia Talbots, Latvia, Elena Bota, and the U.S., Ashley Farquharson wins the bronze medal there. Short track speed skating mixed 2000 relay short track final. Italy wins with the time of 2:39.019, just ahead of Canada at 2:39.258. And then Belgium wins with bronze with 2:39.353. And the other event for the ski jumping mixed team normal hill final, Slovenia wins that gold, quite going away over Norway, who takes second. Japan just behind takes bronze. So, and that, folks, is your situation there. And yeah, sports should be above politics. They should compete. Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's some cases that you could do it, but I think nowadays boycotts are becoming just something to do, like the AIDS ribbon and stuff. Like, hey, I don't care. I'm giving attention. So I can't remember. Buddy was saying they are like Jolt Cola, all the roids, no flag and anthem. Yeah, and it was Belarus also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But
they're heading to a lot of instability right there. That's going to be a situation to pray for too, for those people here probably. So,
well, we're going to call it a night now. Sam, maybe next time if you want to come and talk some sports, you can next week when we go over sports. We won't have football this next week. I think we talked the heck out of basketball today. So it'll be more to just update and view with everybody's at next week, JT. But JT, any final thoughts? And
no, sorry again for being late. Had a work thing I had to get to, so that's why I was late, folks. Glad I could still make it and talk. This is always a fun way to have early midweek culminate. And I am looking forward to March, I think, this year for the first time in a while for basketball.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how all that works. Maybe some streaming parties and stuff, but in the background. But we'll have to see what happens with that. All right. So remember, yes, Sam prays for peace everywhere. Love for her husband be put out of work.
Yeah.
I don't hear him at Michigan accent. There's no Michigan accent.
Oh, I definitely have one.
Michigan
I
has an
definitely
accent?
have one.
How? How? You just
We
talk normal.
smash every single vowel that we have. We also don't say our D's or our T's
Well,
at the
y'all,
end of words very often. Let's see. I think that's most of what makes it highly unusual, but we definitely have one.
oh, yeah.
We're not.
Sam says I'm one to talk though because my accent is all over.
Look, we're not pocket a ka and Harvard Yard, but
Yeah.
it'll hop out sometime.
I was talking to a friend today about their accent. It's one point they're told, "You're talking like you're from Florida." Next minute, it's like, "Well, hey, it's something else." So it's just
Oh, before we go, one
accents.
last
Yeah.
thing. My Miami of Ohio Redhawks are still undefeated,
There you go.
24-0.
Yay! Exactly. Keep on going. Speaking of going, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, Miss and I will be live at to just have a time of chill and talking. So join us for that. Maybe we'll pick up some topics based from the chat out there too. Talk about things in life and books and who knows, just open topics with things. Of course, she'll be live at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Be sure to join her there. Subscribe to her and get her even higher than me in the sub count. So uh yeah, see, she's wanting everybody. So absolutely. And so if you are a veteran, military, retired or whatever, reach out to Sam. She's definitely interested. Like Uncle Sam, I want you. Well, that's Sam. I want you. So, um, also Friday night will be Fortnite with the Fortnite Divas. I'll be live with Mrs. Jess and Sam. Should be a fun time. Come watch us do whatever the heck it is we end up doing. And Saturday night scheduled to be a Saturday night with Dadman, and hope to be there and hope to do one this week, unless the Miss and I decide to do a date night Fortnite uh, Valentine's edition. So that we have to see. So, all right. Oh, buddy, thank you for. See, that's just 2 hours down the road, but at least I'm not going to Disney World because I don't want to get in the middle of that traffic. And I just
Now, that is a massive event, right? The
yeah, it
Daytona
is huge.
500.
It is huge, but
Yeah.
that's why we try not to go that way. When we've been down there before, we come back up through DeLand and through another way. We don't try to get anywhere near Daytona itself. They even park campers out in the pasture lands and stuff. It's amazing how they hold that many people. And folks, if you have not subscribed to Sam yet, please do so.
Yes.
We're trying
Yes.
to get Sam to
Please
100
do.
subscribers. Take a look at that, see how she is, and check out her channel, check out her content. Really good stuff. And a lot of things I've
Make sure
listened to
you're still
podcasts.
subscribed.
Yeah, you always have to keep checking back because you never know what YouTube does. But I tell you, if you're looking for something peaceful that you can listen to at work, definitely a channel, definitely a place to go while you do that, and you can chill and relax. And it's great conversation on the topics that they have.
Looks like she's got a an upcoming video premiering at 1:30 Eastern.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, yes.
In fact.
Yeah. Can you see what the topic is?
It is about the Olympics.
Hey.
U.S. Army Olympians in Milan.
Yeah, it just reminded me because she on the Friday night show she actually did a presentation slideshow on a number of the current military people that are actively participating or coaches. So definitely great to see it. Sam wants you to DM her.
Sure. I'll get to it soon.
Yeah, you might have watched Lorena, the Cletus Slight Jawed Yoko. Nice, buddy. And of course, there's the Mrs. Link tomorrow. So if you haven't, join us Friday night for Divas Fortnite too. That's hilarious. And come say hi tomorrow night to me and the missus. So on that note, I think we'll say good night. I'm going to go to bed very soon. JT, thank you again as always. I hope
thank you,
got
sir.
everything done, and we will do this again next Tuesday night. But we will see you tomorrow night at 8 or tomorrow morning at 10 on the Missus channel. Bye, everybody.